Yeah.
Welcome back. This is your host, Coach Zai. Not only is it Thanksgiving week, it is the game. We all know what game we're talking about. CO. We're not talking about Georgia Tech and Georgia playing powder puff football this weekend. We're talking about Michigan, Ohio State, number 2 and number 3 in the country, playoff implications on the line. I mean, really, we can say there's a lot on the line with everything that we talked about in the scandal. So I'll bring up some points and I'll let you guys talk about it. Let's, first of all, your prediction and why. Second of all, what happens to – I think that the loser has – this is a major implication on their program because it feels like if Ohio State beats Michigan, Harbaugh's probably gone. And so that could – obviously we don't – and then say it could just hammer them and it could be just very interesting who the next coach is. I personally believe that if Michigan beats Ohio State without Jim Harbaugh and what's going on, that Ryan Day is gone. And I think Ryan Day is a pretty good coach. So unless you're bringing Urban Meyer back, that could get even worse. I mean, Michigan went through that where they thought the grass could get greener by hiring Rich Rodriguez and Brady Hoke and all these guys, and you saw what happened. So I think that could happen to Ohio State very easily. And so I think there's a lot of implications on the line. It's very interesting because I do agree with you, CO, to some degree that the Big Ten is very weak this year. And so you just don't know how good they are until they play each other when the money's on the line. And so that's going to be what's very interesting. So I'm just curious, what are the keys to the win, to who wins and why you think they'll win? What are the implications for the loser and who you think's going to lose? And what's that X factor, that person that you're like, man, if you think Michigan's going to win, maybe you think it's because of JJ McCarthy, but who's the one guy on the other side that could really change it, like be that dominant? And so I'm just interested. It's a huge game. Obviously, everybody in the country really will be watching, like, because of everything that's going on. I told you earlier that it's Michigan versus the world because everybody wants to see Ohio State go to Ann Arbor and just end Michigan. That's really what they want to see. They want to see them win by a few touchdowns, even more, and just end Jim Harbaugh. That's what they want. Will that happen, though? Dev, I'll let you go first. What do you think? You're a Michigan fan, so I expect a biased answer, but what do you got?
You already know that I'm going with the Wolverines. I honestly, as a Michigan fan, I'm just like anyone else that's a fan, nervous, obviously, big game. I think it will, impact on who wins or who doesn't. That goes like recruiting wise, like coaching wise and everything. Just like I feel like this is more than just a game. I think like in the future wise, like I think that obviously like the loser of it, it's gonna affect them in the long run. I think, we had last year, we had Hutch, and that was a big factor of our win last year. He was just dominant on the defensive side and he just helped us out a lot.
Not last
I
year.
think
Not last year.
2 years ago. My
Yeah,
bad, my
2 years
bad.
ago.
My
Yeah,
bad,
you're
my
good.
bad, my bad.
You're
my
good.
Bad. This year, I don't know. I think Corum's just he has to get his get back. Like, he missed last year and he just like, I think he's just on a revenge tour. Like, even though they won last year, I think he has something to prove. And I think like, he's seen Edwards go crazy and like I think he just wants to, live up to that. I think JJ will obviously play a good part of it. So but
What's your score prediction?
my score prediction, I don't know. It's obviously gonna be a close game. I gotta think about this real good. It's not. I don't think it's gonna be a high scoring game at all. And I think the game's gonna come down to defense wise too. Just like basketball, whoever plays better defense wins. Like,
You know
I'd
nothing.
say. What'd you say?
You know nothing about that.
Please.
You got a score here or what?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Because like I like to have my predictions just like on point.
All right. Do we need to come back to you?
No, I'll say 26. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
We'll come back to you. Put it together. All right, CO, go ahead. What do you got?
I got two keys to this game. I think it's simple. Whoever wins the last scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and then the quarterback play from either JJ or Kyle McCord. Obviously, McCord's a big question mark. Going into the game, he hasn't really played in a big game. Notre Dame, you could say going to Notre Dame, but that's nothing like the Big House. Notre Dame's trash. And Penn State, but they were at home. Penn State's frauds. Obviously, James Franklin was on record on their jock strap before the year, so I kind of regret that. But those are my two keys to the game. I think an X factor you could look out for is Emeka Egbuka. He's been kind of banged up in recent weeks, but as far as I know, he's getting healthy, and obviously, so much focus is going to be on Marvin Harrison. Egbuka's a stud too, and I feel like if they can get him isolated on some Michigan safeties, maybe hit some big plays, which is possible. Prediction wise, I really. Oh, I have one more thing too. One more key. Whoever wins the rushing battle between the two, whoever rushed for more yards, Travion Harrison, dog. I don't think he played in this game last year, Zai, did he?
I think he may have played a little bit, but he wasn't healthy, and he may have got knocked out pretty early.
Okay. I know he's healthy this year, and obviously Corum and Edwards from Michigan. Whoever wins the rushing battle, that's another key. My prediction, I got Ohio State. I told Zai if this game happened last week, before Michigan's line got banged up a little bit, I'd pick Michigan, but I got Ohio State, and I got them 38-21. And this is the reason why. A tackle got hurt, right, Zai?
We had a tackle not play. They've said he's going to play, and then we had his backup got hurt. I think he's going to play as well, but you never know.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, depending on how they are, you got Tui Molowal and Sawyer on the edge for Ohio State. Obviously, those guys are studs. So, it's just going to be how good they are health-wise, I guess. But for right now, that's my prediction. Ohio State 38-20.
Dev, you got a prediction yet, or what are you doing?
He's on Fort, probably.
You got nothing? All right. Well, here's the key. I've said this since basically Ryan Day won the first game against Michigan with Urban Meyer's guys. He didn't even have to show up and coach. Any of us could have went and coached and won that game. Since Urban Meyer's left, the difference in Ohio State has been a little bit of swagger, and they don't run the ball the same way. Now, I know Henderson he's coming out. He just torched Minnesota. He had a big run. But for whatever reason, they have not ran the ball well against Michigan the last couple of years. So I agree with you on that. I would say Henderson's probably the X factor. Marvin Harrison will probably catch a touchdown. They'll catch Michigan in one-on-one eventually in the game. I think he did it last year. He caught one in the right corner pretty early in the game. I think he caught the first touchdown. And like that probably will happen. But Michigan's not dumb. They're not going to let him beat them. Is what I don't. They haven't. If C.J. Stroud didn't beat them passing, McCord's not going to come in there and beat them in the air just consistently. He may make big throws when the money's on the line to win the game, but they're not going to go throw the ball for 400 yards like they did traditionally with Urban. But that Urban could beat Michigan because when the money was on the line, they could run the ball for 5 or 6 yards when they wanted to. Very similar to when Georgia and Alabama are really good. That's what they can do. Like, they can get 5 yards when they need it. And it just, that hurts you. Ryan Day has not been able to do that, whether that's toughness, whether Michigan is just that much better up front on both ends. Michigan's run game, if you're a Michigan fan, it's very patient. Sometimes in the game, it gets very boring. And what ends up happening is that you just fall asleep one time or, like Ohio State 2 times last year. And the next thing you know, it's 60 yards, 50 yards, and they just wear you down. Now, I agree with you about the offense line. I think Michigan they've shown to have issues at the tackle spot. You would hope that coming into this week, they'll do things. They'll roll the pocket out. They'll play action pass on first down. It's, you're not hiding anything in the playbook now. You let it all out, reverses, flea flickers. That's the thing. You hope to see everything, and you hope to let JJ just be confident and go make plays. So my prediction, I think that Michigan ends Ryan Day's career in Ohio State, and I think that Michigan wins the game. I'm going to say I'll go 31-20. I think that it's competitive in the first half. It's been like that the last couple of years. I think it was like 10-7 last year at halftime. Ohio State was up. So I think that you'll see that. I think Ohio State comes out, maybe scores the first touchdown, but Michigan will adjust. And it just comes down to, I agree with you, turnovers, special teams. Like, you don't think about that stuff in big games because you expect good teams to take care of that. But, those are the type of things that we'll see what happens in those kind of moments. But I think that Michigan is just better. Like, here's what I'll tell you why. I understand they didn't look good last week. Last year, Ohio State was loaded. You had CJ Stroud, you had a bunch of wide receivers and all this. Ohio State's not better than they were last year. You can make the argument that Michigan is better, just a little bit better every phase, other than maybe offensive line. You can maybe say that the offensive line is a little worse, but we're better on all. Like, we didn't have Corum last year at this time of the year. We have 2 good running backs. We have 2 good tight ends. You can say what you want about the receivers, but Cornelius Johnson is proven against Ohio State. He's licking his chops. That's his biggest game is against them. Roman Wilson's been a dog all year. Like, we're just better, and our defense is better than it was last year. And last year our defense was pretty good. Now, Ohio State's defense looks improved. They did the same thing last year, in my opinion. They dominate. Like, this D coordinator reminds me of Don Brown in Michigan. Michigan used to have the top 5 defense all the way up to Ohio State, and then Urban Meyer would just, I don't want to say the wrong terms, but Urban Meyer would just own them. Like, he would just dominate them. It was just, that's what it was. I got a feeling that Michigan has this guy's number because he's aggressive. He kind of reminds me of Manny Diaz. He wants to blitz, he wants to send pressure, and he wants to play man-to-man. Well, as we know, especially as a Michigan fan, when we did that against Urban Meyer, it was touchdown, big play, big play, big play. That's what happened to Ohio State last year. So is he brave enough to sit back in zone, rush 4 or 5 guys, and say, Michigan, run the ball all game and beat us? Can Michigan do that? I think they can. But is he willing to do that? Or will he come out and say, I watched Penn State and I watched Maryland, and all they did was blitz, and they basically dared JJ to beat them, and it didn't look like he could do that. But like I said, I think Michigan said, we got a whole nother playbook for Ohio State, so get ready. So that's going to be the key to me. There's that chess match between offense and Michigan's offense and Ohio State's defense. I think that Michigan will contain Ohio State's offense, and it really comes down to the red zone. Ryan Day has struggled in the red zone against Michigan. If you remember last year, the play of the game, Stroud threw the ball to Stover in the left, and Sanders still broke it up, and they had to kick a field goal. Like, if you want to look back to what Dev was talking about with Aiden Hutchinson, they drove down the field twice, and Aiden Hutchinson got sacks on 3rd downs in the red zone. Like, again, that's just like NFL games, right? Good teams move the ball, but the game starts when you get inside the 20. Like, once you're inside the 20, like, now, it's a little short, it's harder to score. So again, who can score a touchdown? Michigan's red zone offense isn't great either, but that's where I said they usually open the playbook up against Ohio State and look a little bit better. So that's why I think Michigan will win. Also, being in the big house is an advantage. It's going to be electric, especially with everything that's going on. And I think at some point what's going to happen is it's gut check time for Ohio State. And I just don't think – let's not forget Ryan Day was on national TV saying his team was not soft against Notre Dame. They ran the ball for 1 yard against 10 guys or whatever it was. There was a dude short, and he was like, oh, we're not soft. If you have to say that on national television because you already know that Michigan, that's what people are talking about, you're soft. That's what I'm telling you right now. So I think the X factor we're not talking about, and we've talked about this, but does Jim Harbaugh not being there matter that much? I don't know. We're not there every day to know what happens. I think him being at practice is huge, but
it definitely helps.
I just don't. Yeah, I think it helps that he's at practice, but I don't know the impact that he has truly in games. Like, it's hard to tell. I always thought when he first got there, people always said that Michigan ran the ball because of Jim Harbaugh. Like, you'd see fullback dive, you'd see the inside zone, it'd be 4th down and 3, and here we go, we're running it. Or it's 3rd down and 6, and we're running it. Like, and people used to say that's Jim Harbaugh. Well, now Harbaugh's not even there, and you got they're running the ball more. They're not even trying to throw the ball. So it's like, is that because Harbaugh's not there? Is the offensive coordinator
run the ball on 3rd and 8?
Yes. Is the offensive coordinator afraid? Like, think about back to Penn State. Like, we scored a touchdown on 3rd and 8 on a run play, a counter to Donovan Edwards. Like, are we just that confident in running the ball? Was that a slap in the face to say, you know what, we're just bigger, stronger than you are? Like, you will wear down. There's a lot of question marks. There really is. I just think Michigan's the better all-around team. I really believe that. They're at home. They have more to prove. Because I'm telling you that if Michigan gets up, if you think Ryan Day has sweated before, he will be sweating. Like, he will be you know, like when you eat a lot of meat and you got the meat sweats and you're about to shit yourself. That's what Ryan Day. That's what Ryan Day will be looking like, because he'll know that Urban Meyer's watching him, and that's just it. That he'll know that's it. That he might as well, if he loses, he might as well shake Jim Harbaugh's hand, even though he won't be there. Whoever's hand, just shake it and then turn around and give it and say, "I'm done. I'm leaving." I'll tell the guys in the locker room, like, somebody else can coach the bowl game, because it will be it. But I also think on the other side, if Michigan loses, I think Michigan has to win this game to save Jim Harbaugh if they want Jim Harbaugh to be there. Because, like I said, Jim Harbaugh once said, winning cures all. If they can win this game, it just proves to me the more support that the administration, the president, and it just kind of shows that this is all a bunch of BS, like it doesn't really matter. And so it's just like, whatever, we got your back, Harbaugh. The players had your back, the coaches had your back. But if they go get drilled and they lose at home, and it's just like, oh, they were a fluke and all this stuff, Harbaugh's going to be like, all right, Oakland Raiders, like, give me a private jet, a new home. I'm here. Like, we got to get a new quarterback in here, but let's roll with this Las Vegas team or the Bears. Like, he'll go to one of those. So there's a lot on the line. I think I said this last year. I might have said it the year before. This is the biggest game in Michigan-Ohio State history because of the direction. Michigan program could crash. They really could crash and burn. They could just get the NCAA could just, if they lose, the NCAA can bury them for real for like 7 years probably. But if they win, I'm telling you that Ohio State will take a step back unless Urban Meyer decides to come back, but that's not going to happen. They will take a step back because I don't know who they'll hire that will really be better than Ryan Day. Like, bring Deion in. I'd love for that. Let's get Harbaugh, Deion. Like, that would be new. I would love that. You know, I'd be loving that just to get a chance to be Deion. But, like, if they don't get a guy like Deion, though, is my point. Like, you're not going to get better than Ryan Day. So the implications of this game are huge. Like, to point the finger and say, like, you know, think about it like this. If you're married, I'm actually married. None of you guys are married. But if you guys come at me and say, you know, my wife is cheating, right? And she's not cheating, and I come, you know, I beat your ass or I prove it or whatever. But if you tell me my wife is cheating and you slap it in my face, like, it's just tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about stuff like that. Like, Ohio State has basically said you beat us because we're cheating. Like, there's so much on the line here. Like, this all came, in my opinion, from Ohio State. So now it's time. Like, strap it up. Let's decide on the field. Like, this is, and that's how I feel like this is going to go. Like I said, if Michigan loses, the NCAA has the green light. They're going to devour Michigan. If Michigan wins, the NCAA is going to be like, oh, shit. And Ohio State's going to be like, you know what, Ryan Day, we're sick of you. You're out. Like, and it's going to be so interesting. I think that there's so much to watch. And you're right. It really comes down to the line of scrimmages. And it's going to be an old-fashioned, ugly Big Ten in the cold football game. But it's going to be very, very interesting. Like, I'm a little nervous, but I'm confident because I think that we're better than we were last year, and Ohio State's not better than they were last year.
I agree, and you guys can't steal their signs this year, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, they have no excuse. That's my point. That's what I'm telling you. Yep. That's why I said if Ryan Day loses this game, I'm telling you, I can't wait.
He's gone.
Yes,
he's gone.
I can't wait when we're up and they're just showing the camera on him because he may cry.
Zach, I got my final score.
All right, what do you got?
37-26.
Okay. You love 26. Like, in my head, I can understand how you get 26, but 26 is kind of a tough number to get. Like,
I was thinking about that because, like, it's tough because does Ohio State even score that much against us? You know what I'm saying? But I just got to go with 26. Just 26 is like I don't know why I like 26 so much, but
I hear you. I hear you. That's what I know I talked a lot, CO, but I really think that this game has a lot for the future of Michigan and Ohio State, the Big Ten, because I don't know. I don't think it's out of the realm that if Michigan wins and they win the Big Ten title, that they're not like, you know what, fuck the Big Ten, we're out of here. Like, let's go join the SEC where they have it. Because I heard a great quote, and I'll agree with you on that, and maybe you'll know this. Like, somebody said in the SEC, they keep this stuff in-house. Like, they handle this stuff. It doesn't get national news. Like, that's probably true. Like, you don't really hear a lot about SEC teams breaking rules.
Yeah, you don't, bro.
Because they keep it in-house, but they want their conference to win national championships. Like, I'm not saying they're allowing people to cheat, but they pretty much just handle their stuff in-house. Like, the Big Ten has pretty much basically said, like, everybody else in the Big Ten said Michigan's cheating. Like, again, and I've told you, I think that's soft as hell, like, especially at this level. And so now that's what I'm saying. If Michigan beats Ohio State, they beat Penn State, they beat Ohio State, and they go win the Big Ten championship, Jim Harbaugh would be the Big Ten daddy. Like, that's, I mean, the commissioner would have to call him, would have to say, congratulations, daddy. You just, like, I'm sorry, we tried to take you down to camp, and that's what I'm saying. Like, And that's why I'm telling you, every Big Ten team and everybody in the country is rooting against Michigan. But if I'm Michigan, I'm using that to my advantage. Like, and that's how they've taken the mindset the last 2 years. Is like when we beat Ohio State the first year, I don't remember. They said they were like, it's a fluke, right? It was cold, it was snowing. Well, then last year we went into the horseshoe and did it, and then there was no excuses. Well, now somehow Ohio State's come up with the excuse that a Marine stole all your signs. He knew every play you were running, every single one of them. And so now you've got that you've got that on the line. So it's just, I'm telling you, there's so much on the line. And as a Michigan Ohio State fan, it's got to be similar to what you feel, CO, when Georgia and Alabama play.
It's very similar. I honestly think, like, obviously we don't play every year, but when we do, man, it's always a war. It is always a war. It's always a classic game, no matter if one of us is bad, one of us isn't as good. You guys know what I'm saying? Like, it's just fun to watch.
Yeah, it's gonna be chippy too, and like we didn't talk about that. Like Ohio State,
I love that about the rivalry. Though.
Yeah, Ohio State the last few years has gotten a couple of personal fouls. If you remember last year, they were driving. I believe they had the lead, and a drive ended because one of their dudes like headbutted a Michigan dude on the sideline. Like, what team doesn't make those mistakes? And again, you're talking about emotions. Like, Michigan has a gut check. Like like I said, those players probably feel like, man, you don't think I'm good because I don't know the play. Like, hell no. Like, but that's things, there's going to be a lot of talking. And like I said, you don't even need more motivation. Like, this is why you go to Michigan, Ohio State. Like, you know that this game is going to matter. It's a national game. Like, so it's going to be a great show, but I just hope, as a Michigan fan, I hope we win, but I hope it's good. And I hope, like I said, I just hope it's decided on the field the right way. Like, that's all I want. I don't want it to be some fluke. No team wins on a fluke play or a bad call or something like that. Like, hopefully obviously I don't want Ohio State to win, but whoever wins, I hope that they do win. Like, they just show that they're the better team, because that will be better for college football in the Big Ten. Like, it's just going to be interesting. It's going to be chippy. It's going to be maybe Jim Harbaugh will skydive on like something. That'd be crazy. Like, and I've always just thought, like, the other part to me is, if Jim Harbaugh's thinking about going to the NFL, like, what would happen if he did show up on the sideline? Like, what if he's just like, fuck it, I'm coaching. Like, come arrest me. Like, what are they, like, would they suspend him more? Like, I've always thought about things like that. Is like, where you're just like, fuck the suspension. Like, I'm going to the NFL in 3 weeks. We're going to win the national championship. Like, you're going to have to arrest me. Like, I don't know what they would do. Now, I know you're making that face because you don't think Michigan's going to beat Georgia, but if that was his mindset, like, if that's what he told them, like, what would happen? Like, could you imagine the buzz? Like, if Jim Harbaugh walked out, like, right before the kickoff and was just like, I'm here. Like, what you going to do about it? Like,
that would be kind of fun.
The big house would go crazy.
It'd be go crazy. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think he will do that? Probably not. But part of me thinks, like, knowing him, like, there's no way he accepted that 3-game suspension. Like, that's why I don't know. We'll see. There's a week left to see that another story or something comes out. So, but I predict Michigan will win. Deb predicts Michigan will win. CO, not a surprise. He predicted Michigan to lose like 4 games at the beginning of the year.
It was
predicted Penn State to beat us.
Penn State. I'm pretty sure at one point you had told me Michigan State was going to beat us.
No, I said
you
that.
Did. You did.
Yes, you did, bro.
You did. Yes.
You did.
I'm pretty sure I have that on video too.
Bro, yes, I remember seeing that video.
Yeah, you did.
You said you had Michigan State.
I think that was before they had played a game. So in your defense, you didn't realize that Mel Tucker was a pervert and doing what he was doing on the camera. And then we should invite him to the podcast. But then
that boy's going crazy.
So I'll give you credit. I think you did say it before that, but you did predict that at the beginning. You said night game at Michigan State was going to be a tough atmosphere, and yeah, it was not very competitive.
I do want to back up to what I was saying, because I had a blonde moment.
Yeah.
That Hudson was 2 years ago. Yeah. I was thinking about Corum and how he got hurt last year.
I didn't even really talk about it. I agree with you. That's a good point, Dev. I told I think I said this earlier that Corum has not played in this game. So he has yet. That's the one thing left in his Michigan career, really, to be honest with you, is he hasn't put the stamp on the Michigan Ohio State. Like, Haskins had a moment. Think about that for him. Haskins dominated them. Edwards went crazy. Like, so a running back has dominated them. Can Blake be that guy? He wants to be that guy. And can he make that play? And I've said this, that Blake Corum was the reason we lost to TCU, because he wasn't there. Blake Corum is the best college running back. I'm not saying the best. He's the best college running back at turning 1 yard into 3 yards. And that's the thing with Michigan's offense. Like he usually makes the first guy miss, and he somehow always falls forward. It's like when you play Madden and you're playing somebody and all they do is run it and their dude falls forward for 5 yards, even though you tackle them in the back of the line of scrimmage. Like that's how it is playing against Blake Corum, in my opinion. And then obviously if he makes you miss, like he's capable of turning on the Jets. So
he's good at just hitting the holes hard too.
Yeah. CO, you'll like this one. If Blake Corum played in the SEC, he'd be winning the Heisman. Like people would just be jerking off over him.
That's not true because he wouldn't be good in the SEC.
Yes. What? Okay, you don't believe that.
I do believe that. He's not big enough.
If he transferred,
you think Corum gets Heisman last year if he played in an Ohio State game and went crazy?
Yes. So you're telling me if Corum transferred to Georgia, he wouldn't be their starting running back?
Nope, he would not be. He would not be.
This is where this is why I can't take CO serious.
Dude, Zai, you realize he would be number 3.
Number 3.
Oh.
Do you not, dude?
Oh gosh.
We have 2 5-stars as our 1 and 2.
We gotta stop.
One of them's really fast, and then one of them's a big bruiser.
Them dirty 5-stars.
Nobody when.
Dejan Edwards is a dog, and Kendall Milton.
Okay, he is all right. He is big as shit, but like still, like
Blake Corum's better than him.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
And bro, like, yeah, Blake.
Dejan Edwards gets 45 carries a game. He would be up for the Heisman too.
Not in the Big Ten. It's different football. It's different football up here, man.
It is.
It's the mid 10, man. I keep
football. All right. Well, that does it for this segment. Let us know what you guys think about the game. I believe it's on 12 o'clock. We're not talking Georgia Tech either, CO. And I know
it's so far away.
I know you believe this. Do they play at the same time?
No, they play at 7:30.
You know why they did that? Because nobody would have been watching Georgia at the.
Hell yeah.
So
that's not true.
I'm glad I'm glad that you get to watch both games. You get to watch a real team, and then you'll be asleep by halftime because Georgia will be up 73-0. And probably won't even run an offensive snap. So. All right. So that's it. But let us know your prediction either way. Go blue. And we're just excited to watch. I'm sure you guys are all excited. The fellas are out.